Bro, it's like every time I turn around, I be like, Durk he might be alright, and then they come out with some other stuff. Like every time. I'm trying to be a good fan, trying to support the man, but the nigga's cooked. FBI, open up! They came and got you. They
banned from the streets. Get out here.
They said, get out the streets, nigga. You're going to jail. They want them gone. Let's get into this video though.
Right, the official site you go on for federal paperwork. This, I'm gonna clarify though for the confusion out there. This isn't Durk's case. This is the United States of America versus Preston Powell, aka Marley. This is Marley, this handsome young guy from Chicago, and Marley is charged with the murder of Stephon Mack, right? So I'm assuming Stephon Mack is here and these two guys are firing out of a vehicle. Clearly this skinny dude isn't this one, so this has to be Bigham's over here. And yeah, you know, this is how he takes his pictures. You see him on Tinder, he's like, yeah, you know, ladies, I'm single. This is how he looks. This is Marley right here. So Marley is charged with his participation in this killing, right? And Elmer Fudd over here is AJ. This would be AJ. Now we're gonna get into AJ, but let's jump into the paperwork real quick, right? The introduction. The government previously moved for use of the entirety of co-defendant Anthony Montgomery Wilson's recorded statements against defendant Preston Powell. Now Anthony is AJ, Powell is Marley, right? And we're just gonna get right into it. By way of this submission, the government proposes that the court allow for the admission of 3 limited excerpts. So they're introducing these 3 things speaking on this murder, right? And up here it would say, the excerpts simply show that Montgomery Wilson's motivation for killing Mack was to collect a cash bounty that had been put out for Mack's murder by individual A and his associates with OTF. Individual A is obviously Lil Durk. Now the first excerpt would state, in this excerpt, AJ explained to the confidential source that the bounty for killing Youngin, which was Mack's nickname, was 70 grand, and that AJ tried to get the amount increased to 90. AJ, next thing you know, that's a dub. Reminds me, we was having a conversation, shorty. Ken told me like, shit, he a 70 ball right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm finna try to get him to go to a 90. We trying to get 90 out of him for this shit. Confidential source. For a motherfucker, AJ for Youngin. Excerpt 2. In this excerpt, AJ explained to the confidential source that although individual A, aka Durk, contributed $50,000 to the bounty for killing Mack, AJ only collected a portion of those funds. AJ, look, Jam, this what Jam told Didi. I mean, he told Bondo, like, Bug, he say, man, Durk gave up 50, shorty. He only paid me a dub, so it's 30 missing. Remind you, I'm locked up. So he's saying Durk gave 50, but he only got paid 20, and 30,000 is missing. And in this excerpt, AJ would explain to the confidential source,
hey, they got all this public information out there. That man said, I was supposed to get 70, then they only paid 50, then I only got 20. Where all the money disappeared?
He received approximately $40,000 for killing Mack. Confidential source. So altogether you got 35. AJ, 35,000, and then another 5 from JD and them, which they supposed to gave me 100, shorty. They really owe me 100,000. These 3 limited excerpts exclusively concern AJ's admissions to the confidential source that he killed Mack to collect a payment that had been offered by Durk and his associates for the murder. The statements were clearly against AJ's interests and are independently corroborated by other evidence. These 3 limited excerpts are highly probative of the 4 higher components of Mack's murder, and their admission would not be unfairly prejudicial to Powell, right? Now Powell.
So basically I'm asking the question. Are they gonna try to use this and him telling that Durk was supposed to pay so he can get less time.
Is basically arguing against
he going to jail,
what AJ said,
clearly.
because
He locked up now.
you know, AJ is obviously making it look like, hey, you know, we did this because they paid us to do this. That's why we did it. The 3 limited excerpts from AJ's recorded statements to the confidential source provide critical context for those text messages.
Damn.
Now this is the text. Powell, what's up with OTF? AJ, nothing. Powell, what you mean? They not paying? AJ, we waiting. He comes up here on the 17th. Powell, aight. Now on
That's when
February
they left
17th, 2022.
That's when Buddy left his phone in somebody car. I forgot if it was an Uber or something. Buddy left his phone, and they had all the text messages from him supposed to get that money.
Durk was in Chicago conducting a podcast interview, which AJ attended. That day, Powell texted AJ, stand on that while you with Durk them. The following day, Powell texted AJ, did Durk give you that money? This is very important. It's stating that Durk was in Chicago to do a podcast interview. And AJ, who had already killed Mac, showed up. And Marley's telling him, make sure you stand on that. Tell Durk we need that money, right? So AJ shows up and is supposed to ask Durk for this money, for this killing. And it just so happens the podcast is $1 million worth of game. Now the paperwork states the interview was conducted on February 22nd. And this interview would drop March 10th, 2022, giving time for editing or whatever else. But this wasn't the only thing recorded that day. Durk's music video Aha was also recorded that day in the same studio space. Fair. And the interview along with Durk's new song Aha would drop on the same day, February 22nd. Now the funny thing about this, right, is he brought $1 million cash to $1 million worth of game. And apparently in the background of this video is not only the leader of Mike City, the gang, but AJ, who's a member of
AJ
Mike
right
City.
there in the back? Hold on.
Now within the federal paperwork, they would show a picture from the Aha music video on a man's
I just
face
pointed to that.
Like
he literally right
and
there.
then obviously Reddit's gonna do what Reddit's gonna do, but this is supposedly the leader of Mike City. And AJ can be seen in the background of the music video. Stephon Max Killer AJ from Mike City was at Lil Durk's Aha music video shoot. The same video that he dropped less than a month after Stephon died, and he was claiming he got back for D-Thang and got someone's folks hit. So again, this whole murder took place because Stephon Mac allegedly had something to do with D-Thang's brother getting killed outside of a club.
Yeah.
And then the music video would drop, people would start putting the pieces together, but the feds haven't indicted Durk for this murder. These two guys have been indicted. And these two guys are apparently throwing Durk's name around, or at least AJ is. And the feds looked at everything. So Durk did a podcast interview. AJ was in attendance. While AJ's in attendance, Marley's telling him to press Durk about the fucking money they're owed, while there's $1 million sitting on the table in front of him. But again, the most important thing to take away from this situation is this doesn't have shit to do with Durk's case. I see the blogs talking about it all over the place, and a lot of people are thinking that this is gonna bury Durk deeper or have an effect on him. Durk is not indicted on this murder. Durk has nothing to do with this fucking case. This is just them saying, oh, Durk was supposed to pay us. Marley saying go press Durk. At no point in time does it say he said anything to Durk at all. At no point in time does anybody say Durk actually exchanged any fucking money. They're naming everybody else. That's the thing. They're trying to tie Durk into all of these situations, but nobody is actually saying Durk did this, Durk did that, and there's no proof of it actually even happening. So keep that in mind when you hear these things. But as far as these two guys go, there seems to be a ton of evidence against them regarding this murder. They're trying to say the intent was because they were getting paid. Apparently they didn't get paid the full amount. So keep that in mind. All you young ones out there that want to go out here and catch hats, this and that. Dudes is allegedly saying they got 70 on their head, 100 on their head. None of these people are getting paid. What was the situation with Young Dolph? He had however much on his head and they allegedly got paid like $500. You better off just getting a regular job. You don't have to crash to get cash. You could download the free Cash app.
Hey, that man funny. But hey, what y'all think about this one, man? They trying to throw Durk up under the bus so they can, you know, cut that time down. Say, hey, look, I'll tell on Durk if you help me out, man. Like, reduce time, something. I can help you out. But they was already cooked from the get-go. But let me know what y'all think about this one. I'll see y'all on the next one.